Welcome everyone, and thank you for attending this week's Redefine Expectations webinar. This week, we focus on our attention to the agribusiness sector. Firstly, I would like to take a moment of silence to show our support for those communities that are going through some hardships right now as we speak in many parts of our continent. Right, thank you. My name is Nono Sekhoto. I'm a commercial farmer, an entrepreneur, and I'm an advocate in the empowerment of youth in agriculture. I developed my passion for empowering youth in the sector over the last decades, and my work has led me to ALA. In 2020, I developed the program that is with the network for ALforAgribusiness. I am the lead and the network coordinator. The mission of the network is to support and connect young leaders to advance their careers across the agricultural value chain, across the continent. It is with great excitement that I actually get to host this session today so that I can share with you just a piece of the work that I do, which is connecting with the most incredible young entrepreneurs working in agriculture across the continent. As you may know, the agriculture and food sector this year has been under tremendous pressure in the face of COVID-19 pandemic. And it has been astonishing to see the industry pulling through to ensure that food availability is available across our nations globally, in spite of the usual challenges that are faced by the industry. So clearly, this to me means that the people participating in the sector must be energetic, innovative, and downright resilient to overcome all these challenges and ensure that the food is still delivered onto my table and your table. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce 3 such individuals who are groundbreaking entrepreneurs and inspiring youth in agriculture. Our first panelist, Tav, could you show yourself? Okay. Tafadzwa Matika is an ALA alum from Zimbabwe who is merging his love for healthcare and agriculture to transform his family farming enterprise to produce healthier alternative produce. In his experience on the farm, he has built strategies to overcome many challenges, and he believes that sharing such strategies will actually empower other young people to see agriculture as a career of choice. Thanks, Taf. We look forward to chatting to you further. Our second panelist, Benedicte Mundele Kuvuna. I hope I said that right.
Yeah, actually.
Great. Now, Benedicte is a formidable change maker from Kinshasa, DRC, with a master's in food innovation. She's also an Anzisha alum and has acquired many accolades for championing the development of youth in her country. She has also established a food enterprise with a mission to promote fresh local food, and educate her community on the benefits of eating local food. And she also aims to eradicate food poverty. Thanks, Benedict. Our third panelist, Yahouza Gado, who hails from the country of Nigeria. Great.
Hello.
Now, hi. So now, Yahouza is actually an electronic and computer engineer who is passionate about entrepreneurship, and his passion actually led him to identify agriculture as his sector of choice. He has been experimenting on a small scale farming with moringa trees and has discovered a large market in his country, and it is ready to scale to satisfy this market. He has also been building networks in the sector so that he can collaborate and scale his venture. So those are our 3 panelists that we're going to be speaking to this evening. I would like to just go through a few structures of the proceeding so that we can then just let you know how things are going to go. We're going to have 25 minutes chatting to the panelists, and I'll be obviously just interviewing them. And then we'll have another 25 minutes for Q&A. So please, you're welcome to share your questions and comments in the Q&A section on the bottom. If you don't mind, please just specify who your question is to, which will also save us time. Great, let's get to it. So Tav, and as I just, kind of highlighted, you have health this side as well as agriculture. And I think that's quite great because me, I've got finance on my side and agriculture. So tell me, how did you actually get into agriculture? Why do you think that you're going to continue a career in agriculture?
Thanks, Nono. Hi, everyone. So it's actually interesting. For me, a few years ago, even coming out of ALA, I would never have said I'm going to go into a career in agriculture. I was on a one-way path to UNC Chapel Hill to do public health. I was pretty committed on healthcare as a career. It just so happened that when I started working at home, it really was a moment of necessity that I had to respond. My family's farm was facing a crisis. It was on the brink of bankruptcy, and I just happened to be relatively young, working for an NGO that allowed me to help support the farm. So really my origins in agriculture come from a point of almost necessity. I think the real question really has been what has kept me in agriculture, because now we're 3 years going strong. And I think I was pleasantly surprised each year that I got into farming by the different endeavors. If someone had asked me as a young professional what I was looking for in a job of my dreams, I'd have said, hey, I want something that has real opportunities to make an impact. I want something that has a space for innovation. I'm looking for something that will allow me to learn and to grow. And pretty much if given an option, an opportunity, to design my own career. I found in many ways that agriculture and particularly farming has empowered me to do this. And just because, it's an ALA audience, I'll offer just a few things. So like one, there's a strong sense of mission. When we think of population trends for 2050, the African population is expected to double to roughly about 2.4 billion people. The Food and Agriculture Organization estimates that, we need to increase our food production by almost 70%. But yet, a lot of the energy that has been historically in agriculture has been missing. Like we need more youth to actually participate and to help contribute to sort of like this increased production. And for me, I find a strong sense of mission in saying, I want to contribute to making sure that we have enough food to eat. I've actually found that, in fact, there's a lot of opportunities to innovate. I used to think of agriculture as boring. And then now I realize, there's the use of big data, there's the use of a lot of like information systems historically that haven't been there. And so there's a big opportunity to really make an impact, particularly even in my own home country of Zimbabwe. And, as someone who doesn't come from a farming background, there are opportunities to learn. I make mistakes all the time. And this is great for me.
Thanks, Tafadzwa. Wow, listen to you. It sounds like you've been in agriculture for many, many years. So, and I think that's the beauty about being in agriculture. Once you immerse yourself in it, you just get to learn. And, listening to you, I just get goosebumps because that was really my experience when I got in as well. So, Benedicte, also let me know, speak a little bit about me. Why agriculture? What's so special about agribusiness to you?
So agriculture came from me like a curiosity. I was very curious to understand the food paradox in Africa, especially in my country. And I was like, how can we have so potential in agriculture, but we still have food insecurity? But if you see, my country is like one of the high country in the food insecurity. But when you see the potential, it's like huge. And I was like asking why there is this big paradox, and it became my challenge. So I went from curiosity to a challenge, and then I find myself very interesting about agriculture, and I realized there is a lot of opportunity there, job opportunities, feeding the planet opportunities. So there is a lot of opportunity that make me feel very special in agriculture and make me feel staying in agriculture. So
Oh wow, that's wow. I mean, I could be saying the exact same thing, you know, and I think what's coming out there is that the more you want to learn, the more you just see more opportunities, and that's
exactly
really what it's about. So, Yahouza, let's hear a little bit about you. Like, you know, you're also in a very different career. You already have a job steady, but you've still got this little business that you've been doing. Tell us a little bit about why you thought you should start that business.
So before I was a farmer, I was an entrepreneur, and I have tried many small businesses before. And then one day, one of my friends was talking to me about agriculture and how much money he was making in agriculture, and I was so impressed. I was like, "Yeah, I can also do this thing." So I decided to try. We had a small piece of land nearby, and we had water available. I decided to try it, and because it was a small piece of land, I had to maximize the land to make profit out of. So I had to do an extensive production of moringa. So I estimated having over 9,000 trees over a very tiny piece of land, 700 meters squares. So it was after starting this experiment that I discovered the need and the potential of agriculture. So with this much tree, I was able to run out of moringa in 4 days, in a 10-day cycle. So I realized that there is a big potential here. There is a really big need for production.
Excellent.
So now that I've mastered the experimental phase, now I'm ready to scale up and grow the business.
Yeah, well, you sound like a real businessman. You know, like you saw, like, you know, the fact that people were buying, you just knew that that's the business, and that's what it's about. A lot of times we think of agriculture, we think passion, yes, of course, but these are businesses, and we really need to set ourselves up for that. Taf, tell me a little bit about the work you're doing when you're merging, you know, the work you're doing in healthcare as well as the farm, you know, especially in finding ways to promote your farm in a different way, you know, to really advance that healthcare part of it.
Fantastic. So when I think of agriculture, the best like comparison in healthcare actually is nutrition. I studied nutrition, but it would never have become very apparent to me that like nutrition and agriculture were so interlinked. I think when I think of nutrition, I see it sort of like at the nexus of, you know, the actual crop production. I think of it in terms of actually growing the fruit and distributing it. So that means jobs, that means economy. I think of it in terms of health. And, you know, just building off Benedicte, what she was saying, this idea of being able to provide food with healthy and nutritious options, then immediately ties into our conception of health. I think one practical thing we did at the farm was that when I first started, traditionally the farm grew tobacco, and we essentially pivoted into a model that actually focuses on horticulture. So now we grow vegetables because, you know, they make my conscience feel better, but actually they enable many more people actually to eat, you know, more nutritious, healthier food. And hopefully, you know, we've been selling at farm price, so they get it relatively cheap, which is almost an act of service, but also surprisingly very profitable.
Wow. That's great. I mean, you know, you're also coming in with a, you know, a very strategic way of looking at it. It's not only about profits. It's also around what you said. You want to make an impact and you want to do good. And for some reason, that's what agriculture does. You know, that's what I found myself wanting to also contribute very positively to my community when we are actually participating in agriculture. So Benedicte, let's then think about this thing of, you know, being a woman in farming and in agriculture. Of course, at the higher levels, there's not a lot of faces, right? But in our space, in the space that you are in, tell me what's the advantage of being a young and a woman?
I think there are many advantages. First, you have an inspiration figure, so you are there to inspire other people. And then you not just about inspiring people, and you get a lot of opportunity because many eyes are on you and they want to see how you are doing. And as I was saying, it's like our natural passion as women to feed people, and feeding the planet and being in agriculture is like it's just huge, you know. So I
Yeah.
think it's not just about an opportunity, it's about a passion, it's about the natural place to be and inspire other people as well.
Yeah.
And I think there is a lot of advantage. And that I can
Wow.
also invite a lot of women to come in agriculture.
Yeah. Great. My goodness, like, you know, if the audience are listening out here, I literally could be saying this. I mean, I've been in the industry for the past decade, and just listening to you, Benedicte, it's like I'm saying those words because there is an advantage to being young and, you know, a woman, even though there is a lot of still challenges that we're going through, but it's very important to focus on those positives. So nice. That's great. Yahouza, let's focus on you a bit. So, you know, the interesting thing around the discussions we've had this year was about, you know, how you're just maximizing this opportunity that you've just discovered. And now it's time to scale. You know, you really are adamant that you're even going to leave your job. But tell me how you're going to actually do that. Like, what are the things that you're thinking about? You know, I know you mentioned things like, you know, collaborating with others. Can you share a little bit about what you feel like you may even need support, or, you know, your thoughts around that? Tell us your journey.
So my current operation is more than a year old now, and I have made tons of mistakes. I have learned a lot. I lost money. I went through depression. Like, all these things that people say about entrepreneurship are true. Like, there are so many ups and downs. But then after a year, I think I have experimented as much as possible, and I took notes. I made observations. I'm now ready to scale up the business. And how I'm gonna do it? So I'm gonna do it progressively. It's gonna take time. You know, as you know, agriculture is not
like overnight.
Agriculture is a very capital intensive business. Yeah, you need a lot of capital to actually grow production. So to do that, my steps are my intention are to grow slow by slow. Like, we have a bigger piece of land that I intend to start using, but then it's not going to happen over a year or 2 years. It's going to take time to grow.
Yes. No, that's good. And, you know, for me, the whole time you're saying that, I'm just hearing visionary. You know, sometimes we in agriculture, we think we want to get produce quick. No, the ones who do very quickly, easy come, easy go, but slow, steady, it's a long race, because your produce is, you know, those profits and that impact is really going to come over time. So good kudos to you for being able to see that and actually working towards that. And I see people are shaking their heads, so that's a good thing. And so back to Taf, let's think about, so the one thing that I've also loved about how you approach this is talking about challenges that, you know, that you've experienced, whether it's the country. I mean, Zimbabwe is going through a really tough time, as many countries are. But the fact that you are so adamant that, you know, whatever you learn, it would be so good, you know, the solutions that you build up, it would be so great to share with others. Could you tell us some of the challenges that you've overcome that you think would be really great to share with our audience, especially those that are just not so, you know, versed with agriculture?
Fascinating. Okay. So in ALA, they used to tell us that entrepreneurship is about problem solving. I just had no idea how many problems I would encounter as a farmer. I've been surprised, you know, we've had issues from no power, like power outages for a month, and you have crops that needed to be irrigated, to issues as basic as, you know, people in the community stealing a lot of and vandalizing property, all the way through. This is my favorite personal challenge, really, because it's been the most systemic, but just dealing with currency issues from the country.
Wow.
As some of you may know, Zimbabwe went through a hyperinflation period in the early 2000s. But around the 2017, 2018, even up until 2019 period, our currency, our recently introduced currency, went through a big change, and it went through a large process of devaluation. So when I first started working, one Zimbabwean RTGS dollar was equivalent to about $1 US. As of, I think, yesterday, now $1 US equals 80 Zimbabwean dollars. And so you may ask yourself, you know, what does this mean for farmers? But if you're a farmer that grows, say, corn and maybe wheat, and you get paid, you know, every 6 to 9 months, Imagine that you get paid, X sum of money, and then within 2 or 3 months, that money has devalued, say, by 50, 60, 70%. It's really hard to run a business. And it was a source of like stress. So yeah, I resonate a lot with, losing money and stresses.
So how did you deal with that?
So like on a strategy level, I think like any business, you have a cash flow problem. You need to figure out, how do I sustain the money that I'm getting in to meet, my expenses? And the solution for us came in this idea of sort of like diversifying our farm model, which is essentially what forced us to even consider growing vegetables, because vegetables grow on a much shorter time frame. So within 3-4 months, you can stagger them because some of them grow throughout the year. And like Yahouza is doing, like you can build up your market slowly. And so now our farm is able to sell onions, broccoli, butternut, like constantly, or at least as much as possible as the weather permits, which allows us to make monthly sales. This allows us then, when we do get like a big check from the corn that we've grown, we can invest it in, say, something more substantial, like a generator or like irrigation equipment, but at the same time meet all of our daily overheads by doing so. So hopefully people who are not farmers can resonate with that challenge.
Yeah, geez, I'm just so impressed. Every time I listen to you guys, and I mean, if I was, I'd started agriculture at your ages, I have no idea where I'd be now. So I'm really, really just, I'm fascinated. I hope you guys out there are listening to these, literally like these brilliant minds. So Benedicte, let's get back to you a bit. So tell us the potential of, the opportunities that you're seeing in your country. I know you mentioned a little bit of it, but with regards to what should youth be looking out for, especially when you're thinking of the value chain? A lot of people know it. They probably heard the word, but I know a lot of people don't understand what that means. So please share with us your take on that.
Yeah, I want to even say something Tafadzwa said, because I realize we are not in the same country, but we are having the same challenges. So I don't know if it's Africa or everyone in agriculture having the same challenges. So I very relate to what he was saying. So like opportunity, guys, there are a lot of opportunity here in Congo. So like we have 80 million of fertile land. So everywhere in Congo, you can grow. You can grow everywhere. And now we just have 10% has been used so far. So I think there is a lot, there is a lot of opportunity. Imagine 80 million, and then everywhere you go, you can grow something. Even in your house, you can start farming. So you see, there is a lot of opportunity. And we have the climate diversity. So in many places in DRC, you have another type of climate. It's not in all Congo we have the same climate. So when you are in Kinshasa, we don't have the same climate in north of Congo or east of Congo. So we have a lot of diversity potential. And as I was saying I just posted something on Twitter saying the potential of how we make maize here. We grow, everyone eats maize to make fufu. I don't know if you have it in your country, but
we do it.
Yeah, exactly. So there is a lot of opportunity, not just in production, even in distribution, because there are many people focusing in other sector, not many people focusing in agriculture, and seeing those potential. I was reading a book here. There is a lot of potential. I just state some of them, but when you see what is happening here in Congo, you see, and even the potential of people in Congo. I think we are the third big population in Africa. So demographically, we are going to grow again. So you see, there is a lot of agricultural opportunity here, feeding the planet. It's our opportunity in Congo.
You can wake up one morning and just be in agriculture.
Exactly.
That's great. I think the other point that I just want to stress a little bit around the value chain is making sure that others actually know that if you're interested in agriculture, you don't have to think of farming only.
Exactly.
Marketing is a big thing. Marketing of food, and I mean, you doing food technology and food innovation, like how food looks, that's like a whole industry on its own. How you prepare food, how you store food, how you transport food, even the support that you give farmers. And I think for me, you've got a big cohort in the network where people have got skills of agriculturists, and they can already go back home and contribute just on that level.
Yeah, and also I think there is many people are focusing just in production, and there is a huge opportunity in the whole value chain, even distribution, even in the eating habits, how people can eat very well, how the transport from food from farmers to the to the plate. So those are all the opportunity, job creation, feeding the planet.
Great. And that's when actually another point to make is just why tech is also important. Tech also allows us to take advantage of all the different parts of the agricultural value chain, not just in production. So Yahouza, tell me something interesting. I think we haven't really spoken about this, but I really would love to hear you touch on it. And it's about the fact that you are, you're a computer engineer. And getting into agriculture. Are you actually using any of those skills, or maybe future thinking about how you're going to be able to use those?
Yes, actually, one of my senior design idea or project that I intended to do while in college was designing an automated independent irrigation system.
Nice.
That I would use on my farm. So like, imagine a software where you would be able to monitor your farm from your home, and the farm would actually work without you. Mm-hmm. That was actually my senior design project. I wanted to do it, but then we ended up doing something else.
Okay.
But I have all the components right now that I intend to start building very soon, and see how I can use it on a much larger scale.
Wow, Yahouza, I haven't heard this one. This is fantastic. And that's the thing. And, the ideas that you guys are just coming up, and I know this isn't the end, and it's such a pity we have like 25 minutes to talk. There's just so much we can go about. So we've got another 5 minutes to go. I'm going to ask, I just want to make another point around technology, of course, being such an important thing. And it's great to know that there are technologies that are already available. And then it's also about what other creations can we still contribute towards. Taf, so this will be the last question. So let's just kind of think about, how it is that you would be able to encourage youth to get in. As much as you talked about your challenge, you didn't tell me that one piece I asked, which was, how would you then share this knowledge with other youth to show them that agriculture is the way to go?
Sweet. So I guess my encouragement then, it would probably be, I think because agriculture and agribusiness is such a broad area, as Benedicte was saying, you can, as anyone who wants to get involved, like you can start off with what you are most interested in because of the diversity of, the opportunities, but also based on just what your skill sets are and where you think you can make an impact. And so there are a range of opportunities from, transportation to energy, to actual design, to, fintech, to insurance. And so there's a lot that can be done to actually support and strengthen agriculture. So my encouragement then is, if you are a problem solver and you're eager to make an impact, try and sort of look at, the broad spectrum of what agribusiness entails, and so try and claim your stake in an area that you want to get in. I think once you take a bite, you'll discover that it's delicious, pun intended, and then I think you'll keep on investing in agriculture and working in that area.
Well, spoken like a real agriculturist. You just get sucked in. So, and then Benedicte, let's also think about, the importance of, bringing youth close to this. The discussions and the opportunities. What are you doing in your space? Can you share with us? Because, I know you do a lot of work with youth. How are you encouraging them? What are the platforms? What are you doing? Please share with us.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say that agriculture is welcoming everyone. Whether you are in IT or a designer or anything you can do, you can find it a way to do in agriculture. And I think agriculture is welcoming all of us. And the way that I'm promoting it is that I'm planning to work on a project as well in that field. Another thing as well, I run a juice bar where we make people drink natural juice from farmers to make some juice. And then we had some challenges for having fruit, so finding the good fruit from farmers. So it was some challenge for us. And then while talking with farmers, they were saying we don't have clients. So I didn't understand where was the gap. We don't have enough fruit, and you say you don't have farmers. So I've created that project named Agribusiness, where I put together agriculture or people who want to invest in agribusiness. So we meet here on Thursday. So before COVID, right now we don't run any events so far. So before COVID, we were inviting people to talk about how we can find solutions, what are our challenges, what opportunity we can show to other people. And I also create a Instagram page where I write some quotes about agriculture, some opportunities, opportunity in the old value chain. So this is a way for me to welcome youth in that field.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that. And I hope like maybe you know, in the chat, or you can give us some of your connections so that others can go on there, some links. So closing the last question, Yahouza, and I hope you guys, the audience out there, are getting your questions ready, so that I can just, we'll get to the Q&As just now. So Yahouza, tell me a little bit more about the kind of support that you think, you know, youth really need in, you know, to start up businesses, and also, like you're saying, to scale. Where do you think, like, you know, support can actually be beneficial for you?
So for support, there are two types of support. There's support for those that have not yet started, and there's support for those who have already started. I believe those that have not yet started, the support that they might need is a little bit of encouragement and mentorship, and guiding them to what they might encounter during the process. And for those that have already started, that are already in the business, I think the support might be different from one individual to another, but the biggest support most would say is funding, because agriculture, like I said before, is a very capital intensive business. If you want to explore to grow food on 1 hectare of land, it's going to require a big capital to actually do it. From having the borehole, the irrigation system, the employees, you need to have a working capital for 4 to 5 months, and it's a huge expense. So I believe that might be the biggest support most entrepreneurs might need in this sector.
Okay. Yes. You know, just to close off there, you know, in my journey, the one thing I've experienced is that sometimes you do get support, but it needs to be appropriate. You know, as you said, you were very clear to say, when you're at this level, you need this type of support, but when you progress, the support is completely different. And I think that's what has been the kind of like the work that I've been doing, is that it's not just any support. You don't just throw support. You really need to find appropriate support for the right people. We're not all the same. You can't just paint us all with a, you know, one brushstroke. So let's open up to the questions. Oh, yay, we've got a few questions. So I'm going to go through. I see one here. And this one is to Mr. Matika. My question is, what do you think is the reason entrepreneurship is not strongly associated with agriculture and on a large scale as it should? I think that's a good enough question.
That's a tough question. I saw it in the chat box and I was hiding from it. So I actually struggled with this question a little bit, because I do think that there has been a lot of like entrepreneurship when it comes to agriculture, although this entrepreneurship doesn't necessarily come from the youths. And so like if we look at sort of different trends, you'll find that the average yields in agriculture have risen, in the past 20 or 30 years, owing to better technologies, improved strategies, better growing plans, all of which speak to innovation, which is at the heart of entrepreneurship. Some of the key challenges, though, that maybe address the question are that when you look at the average age of, say, a farmer, you'll find that the average age globally is around the 60s. It's about 67 or somewhere there. Most people see agriculture as a career in which they want to go and retire in. It's sort of like your safety net. It's like, when I've done everything else I really want to do with my life, I'll go and get a farm somewhere, have pina coladas and like enjoy sunsets. It's not that easy. But I do think what we need, though, is the dynamism of the youth and for more youths to be engaged. Because once you start considering agriculture as a career that allows you to invest and to grow in the ways that you want to, I think it will spur a lot more African youth primarily to become entrepreneurs within the agribusiness chain. And I think we need to find ways, to make agriculture attractive to the youths, because for many people, it's not. It's the thing you do after you're a doctor or an engineer, or, when you've had many, many years of financial success elsewhere. So that's my 2 cents take on it.
Okay, great, thanks. I hope it answers your question, Anonymous. We've got a question here from Brian, who says, how can you influence a culture shift from pastoralism to agriculture in areas that traditionally over-relied on livestock? Key message for advocacy. Who would like to take that? Benedicte?
I didn't think I get the question. I didn't understand very well the question.
So how can you influence cultural shift from pastoralism, so for people who actually farm on pastures, to agriculture in the areas that traditionally over-relied on livestock?
Yeah, I think everything is like evolution. Everything comes from evolutions, and then seeing how the evolution is going, you will find out there is more opportunities. But I also think the way we do things in the past is not just all bad. We need to see what was good and bring it and live in the present, adapt in the present as well. So I think the way to influence people is showing them that they are good in the present as well, good in the past as well, and how we can embrace the new way of doing things.
I guess you're right. I mean, it's a process. There's also what you're saying is making me think of how we merging technology, which is something that's new, and things that are still to come. Yet, and also making sure that we know that the past of how we preserve and and farm sustainably come together. How do we merge those? So I see what you mean. It's a progression. Let's see. I've got another question from Willie Wayne. This is Willie Wayne from United States of America. I am the founder of Youth of African Career Development. Could Yahouza discuss more about hardships that he experienced as a new entrepreneur? What would he do differently if he had to start all over again?
What would I do different? So I have experienced many challenges. The first one, so first of all, initially I tried to do an organic production of moringa. That was a nightmare. it was a nightmare, because doing organic is really hard. And what do I mean by hard? For instance, you need organic pesticides, and that's extremely hard to make. And something I realized is that not many people, nobody mastered the topic of organic production. I went to so many people. I went to the university. I asked many people that have been in the sector for so long, but none of them was doing organic. So they would give you a formula, go do this, go do that. I would try it and it would fail. It wouldn't work. There's the issue of organic pesticide and organic fertilizer. It was really a nightmare. I tried so hard, but then in the end, I had to give up. Now I'm doing the conventional agriculture. That was my biggest challenge. And one of the challenges I had was water. So initially, I underestimated my need of water. So we had a faucet in the land, although it was a tiny piece of land. I did not realize how much water I would need for all my 9,000 plants. So I spent so much time hustling with how to. So it was a huge cost for me as a starting entrepreneur. So I had to get the financing to do the borehole and install a solar irrigation. So all these are challenges, but I wouldn't call them. I think they're all part of the learning.
Yes.
So I wouldn't do them. If I could go back, I would still need to do them to learn, actually. So these are mistakes or challenges that help you grow, that teach you how to do it better next time.
Okay, that's a very good answer. I like that, Yahouza, because in all honesty, a lot of times there's books and theory. Until you're on the ground and making it happen, you'll have the real results. So absolutely. But I think the point that you also made sure is that maybe you would have had, if you had a little bit more insight around what you were doing, you would also do things differently. So as much as we're learning, it's also important for us to have a little bit of insight around what's happening so that we can make better decisions. I've got another question here from Rumbi. She says, I'm interested in urbanization and agriculture. How can we protect agricultural lands from urban spread? We'll take that. Taf? I see you have a big smile.
I was trying to figure out what I would say for that. Yeah, I feel like that's a tough question. And my immediate reaction is to say I think it belongs in the realm of policy, and also sort of like the realm of the kind of support you were talking about, Nono, where I think you need some sort of like agricultural lobby groups to help protect this land. Because it is true that once you start thinking about urban sprawl, there's a lot of money to be made in selling stands and where people can eventually build houses or city centers or even just like any commercial buildings. And so sometimes it may be very difficult for the individual farmer or person who is in agriculture to sort of like contend with that, especially if there's a lot of pressure. And so that's sort of like my 2 cents on it. Granted, you know, if there are farming communities that will be adversely affected by, you know, urban sprawl, I think sometimes they themselves can make a case, whether it's purely based on economics, it's based on the number of people that they employ, it's based on sort of like the capital they generate. Given that, you know, there are many sort of like factors to consider when you are parceling out different types of land, at least at the council level, if assuming councils are the ones that are deeming what land should be used for which purpose.
Yeah, you know, you're making me think of something that's very important around entrepreneurship, and as well as, you know, being farmers or in the agri space, the importance of networks, and so that you're able to build a voice. As Benedicte said earlier, we're all facing very similar challenges, right? So if there's a lot of us with the same issues, how great would it be if we can have that one voice that really, really, you know, targets those challenges that we're all facing. So absolutely, Tef, you know, those type of changes really need big voices and many voices to be able to get the right change through. So I've got another one from for Benedicte. You are doing an amazing work. I just want to know, what are the challenges you're facing in your business? And secondly, how do you deal with competition in the market, as many young people understand that they have to invest in agriculture? So it's the competition and kind of like some challenges.
Challenging. So challenges, there are a lot of challenges as well. Like the Matika was saying about the currency, I think is one of the challenges as well, where our money is changing the value every day, devaluing every day. So I think this is one of the challenges where we are experiencing in the money part, and the production as well. As I was saying, we want to have fresh and natural products, but sometimes when you go to the market, the farmer will tell you that we don't have a product right now, wait for this, but clients are waiting for the product, and you need to find a way to find another, like this, the way to find fresh juice. and have good distribution channel is still a challenge, but we are finding a way to find the solution. As I was saying, we create this AgriBoost community where we can say, I need this one, and if I have it and I can deliver it to you, it's one of the challenge. In terms of competition, we have a fresh juice, and it's still more expensive than adult juice. So you need to show people that we are not just selling juice for you. We are not just selling products to you, but we are selling a healthy lifestyle as well. So you need to show what is your value proposition so you can compete to the market. So we still have some challenge. We still have some competition, but we need to see how to show the value that we are bringing, and also how we connect with farmers to find solution to that. Yeah. And also there is many legacy problems as well. Yeah.
Let's not start on those. Thanks, Benedicte. Those were good answers. So I've got another one, a question from Obiamaka. Obiamaka says, hi everyone, I'm a final year high school student from Nigeria. I have a question for Yahouza. As a student who majored in computer science, how did you juggle your time studying and as an entrepreneur?
Okay. So my first venture while in school was not in agriculture. It was a taxi business. So I had my fleet of taxi here in Niger while I was studying the US, but I had my friend whom I trusted that was managing the operations. But I had implemented a management system where I could track the businesses in real time. So I could track what happened today, the sales that we did today in real time. So I believe the key here is being able to follow up in real time as quickly as possible, and finding the right person for the job.
Partnerships, collaboration, that's key. So I've got another question from Jonathan, who's from Congo. So he's asking, he's saying, I'm a Congolese and I'm living in Norway, and I'm interested in agriculture and want to make system design, which is mechanical and obviously using software, but I don't have an opportunity of knowing what's happening on the agriculture and what agriculture needs. Is there a place or website, we could go for, to get some information around IT, etc.? So, Taf, how would you advise Jonathan?
Oh, this sounds more like a question for Yahouza.
We'll let you do it so that you can also show where you discovered it.
So he basically sounds like an entrepreneur to me, right? Like he's someone with skills, with passion, and deep interest in trying to make a difference. I would say if you're affiliated with ALA, right, like you may have already gone through what they call the build process. So this iterative model behind entrepreneurship. And so my advice to you actually it sounds like you're at the U under that build. So this is the understand problem. So what is the nature of the problem? What are the nature of like the solutions you could start working on? So for me, if I were an entrepreneur in any case, I would definitely go to where the stakeholders are. So this could entail talking directly to farmers within the particular types of communities that you're interested in working with. And this is because you'll realize that, as Benedicte was saying, there are many similar problems across countries, but we also have different problems depending on the type of area that you want, and also because agribusiness is broad. So for example, if you want to work, say, with large commercial farmers with big pieces of land, their issues are probably going to be around the Internet of Things, or thinking about how to design irrigation systems that Yahouza was talking about earlier. If you're going to go to smallholder farmers, theirs might be still relevant to technology, but thinking about how to optimize the systems that they currently have. And that's a different nature of problem, right? So perhaps they don't have access to tractors because they're too expensive. Can you give them something that's more efficient and effective than a plow? because it will allow them, for example, to till the land faster and to do it with less work. So that's sort of the first place. The second place is many countries generally have an agricultural office of some sort based within the Ministry of Agriculture, where they typically have information on important factors that are, affecting agriculture, where they're trying to go. Granted, it may take a lot of like knocking on doors and asking people to eventually get a meeting, but that is one other option. And then I think the third thing, and this has been helpful for me, but I recently started growing onions. I knew nothing about growing onions, so I went on the internet. And I know this is very cliche and very like, laissez-faire. It should be the go on the internet and sort of like see what's available out there. But you'll be amazed by sort of at least, the information you can learn. And the very least, it'll give you a basic sketch of some of the key issues, and then you can still like top it up by engaging with the stakeholders to find where to go. That's my understanding.
That was brilliant. Yes, Benedicte?
Yeah, I think I want to add something in that. And I think there is all the value chain in agriculture, and see where is the problem, understanding what is the problem that you want to solve and how that your design can help in that problem. As I was saying, agriculture is welcoming everyone. So you can make some design and prototype it if it's possible. You can see how it works in the market and see what is the office that you can find more information. And so first of all, you need to find information, the information about what the problem that you want to solve and how you can design a solution for that specific problem. But because the more it's very diversify your problem, the more it will be very difficult for you to design a solution. So you need to design to a specific problems and then go after the solution. You need, there is a way for you to make a prototype, you can prototype it and try to find if there is a way to, if it's working, or what can I add, or what can I, like many people are designing solution without knowing the problem. And then when they put it in the market, it's not working. So you can all design the process, all the way, and then prototype at the end.
I see. Wow, thank you. That's actually very, very encouraging. I hope that helps you, Jonathan, because you need to also just be very specific around what you are thinking and where you want to go before you go to websites and information. So that's good advice. I've got another question to say, how did the COVID-19 pandemic impact agriculture, especially your businesses? I think that would be something, if someone can just give us a little bit of insight on that.
Yeah, I can start maybe because all of us have the different problems in COVID-19. So for us, actually, we run a juice bar. We were supposed to close because it was COVID-19, the era of the moment. So we were supposed to close. So it was a challenge for us. So it was a way for us to find solutions. So we came up with an idea where we call J'applaudis. It means applause. So we were giving away free juice for nurses, the one who are in the directly with in the hospitals. So it was a campaign that helped us to be known in that period and to show the importance of eating fresh fruits and vegetables as well. So it was an opportunity for us. So at the beginning it was a challenge, and then it became an opportunity. And also the COVID-19 made our country to realize that we need to produce more. So now all the big companies, they are finding a way how, even the government, they are finding a way how we can invest more in agriculture. So it was a wake-up call. I think it was an opportunity as well for the country and for businesses as well.
Yeah, I like the way you put that. And that's the essence of being an entrepreneur. You see a problem and then it becomes an opportunity. So, and we need to keep that momentum the entire way. Can anyone else like to share what the effects of COVID had on their businesses? Yahouza, I think you've told me some things. Please share a little bit there.
So for me, it was more like a realization of of we need to produce more and locally. So what happened is that we had a lockdown. Like the city I was in, Niamey, was locked down. So even those that had farms nearby couldn't go out to their farms. I had the chance of having my farm right in the city. So I was able to, it was a very big opportunity for me. And I wish I had a bigger production at that time.
I see.
But not even me. I believe even those that had their farms nearby could also benefited, because you could get a pass to actually live across the city. So I believe the agribusiness is very much immune to this kind of pandemics, because people, regardless of what happens, people need to eat.
Yes, that's true. I guess there were a few challenges that were experienced right here and there, but the business, the businesses in the sector was still very vibrant. That's all the questions we have for today. Oh, I was just so excited. I just wanted to ask more questions. Thank you so much. You guys have been great, and thanks for sharing. And also, just like to thank the audience for making the time and just being with us so we can all share. As I said, my name is Nono Sekhoto, and I'm the lead for ALforAgribusiness Network, and these are my network members. So thanks again.
Thanks, Nono. Hi, everyone. My name is Kalalelo from South Africa, and I'm also part of the team that organizes the Redefine Expectations webinars. I just wanted to jump on here to first thank you, Nono, and our panelists for the fruitful discussions that we've had today. I think if you're privileged to have a plate of food to eat today, hopefully that plate of food will spark a little bit more curiosity around the value chain and the people that are working to secure sustainable food security, especially on a continent such as ours that has been long plagued with hunger and poverty. So we salute the work that you're doing, Taf, Benedicte, Yahouza, thank you so much again for your time today.
Thank you.
On a different topic, to our attendees and to the broader ALA community, and in light of the current unrest in Nigeria, we'd like to extend an invite to you all as our ALA community to the ALA community discussion. It's happening this Saturday at 4 p.m. SA time, or South African time. And this platform was created from a need from our community to educate ourselves on the movement, as well as engage in discussions around possible solutions in support of our youth. The registration link is in the chat function right now, so we'll give you a few minutes to copy that and register for Saturday, and I encourage you to join us and pass on the invite along to your circles, and it will remain on your screen for the next minute. Otherwise, you're able to find this link as well on our social media pages. Thank you so much for joining us. Goodbye.
Bye.